Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a really fascinating journey looking into American culture, but from a foreign perspective.
Yeah, our source material for this one comes from someone who actually lived in the U.S. for several years. Really detailed personal observations. And they originally shared these insights mostly to help English learners get a grip on everyday American life. So it's a unique window. But our mission here, for you listening, is to go a bit deeper. We want to pull out those key nuggets, those surprising insights. Basically, the shortcuts to really being well-informed about American culture. We're not just looking at what they saw, but digging into why it matters, what it tells us. Okay, let's get into it. So one of the very first things that apparently jumps out is this. Well, it's a paradox, really.
Yeah.
Americans can be incredibly friendly in public, strangers smiling, say, hi, how are you?
Right, or complimenting your jacket just passing by.
Exactly, that immediate warmth. But then there's this pretty strong sense of personal privacy alongside it.
And that public warmth often gets channeled into what you could call the art of small talk. It's everywhere. Ah, okay.
Yeah, supermarket lines, waiting rooms, elevators. It's constant. But it's usually light stuff, right?
Like the weather or weekend plans.
Exactly. Weather, sports, maybe what you did over the weekend. It's a way to be polite and friendly without getting too personal.
So not an invitation for a deep heart-to-heart necessarily.
Generally not, no. It's more a social lubricant. Our source found it strange at first, coming from a place where maybe you wouldn't chat with strangers like that.
Yeah.
But eventually it just felt normal.
That makes sense, especially when you pair it with the strong value placed on independence and personal space.
Oh, definitely.
You see it early on, right? Teenagers getting jobs for their own cash,
Mm-hmm. Saving up for a car, maybe?
and lots of young people moving out at 18 for college or just getting an apartment. That self-reliance thing.
It's a big part of the culture.
And it even affects friendships, it seems. The source mentioned friends might not text or call every single day.
Right. The idea is everyone's busy with their own lives. It's understood.
And physically, too, that sense of space. Like, you wouldn't sit right next to someone on a bus if there are plenty of empty seats.
Exactly. It's not about being cold or unfriendly.
Yeah.
It's seen as respecting the other person's space, their autonomy.
Giving people room to breathe.
Yeah, literally and figuratively, it's a cultural value, deep-seated.
Okay, so this mix, public friendliness, private space, it seems to weave into daily life, too, like food culture.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
Very different.
Our source found it really quick, very casual compared to back home. Often, you order at the counter, pay first, grab your own table.
And then you just leave when you're done. No waiting around for the bill.
Right. And eating on the go seems common, too. Breakfast in the car, lunch at your desk.
Yeah, takeout, delivery. It's all about efficiency.
But it's not like cold efficiency, is it?
No, that's the interesting mix. Even in that speed, you get the enjoy or have a good one from staff. There's still that friendly touch.
That efficiency thing really shows up with punctuality, too, doesn't it?
Oh, massively.
Yeah.
Being on time is crucial.
The source used a great example. Dinner invite at 7 p.m.
Right.
7:0 p.m. is perfect, 7:15. Starting to be rude.
And 6.3 is actually awkward because your host might not be ready.
Yeah, catching them off guard. And it's not just social stuff, right? Meetings, classes.
Everywhere. It's a sign of respect for other people's time.
Hmm.
Our source mentioned struggling with this at first, if their own culture was more relaxed about time.
I can imagine. And this expectation of efficiency and respect, it bleeds into customer service, too.
Absolutely. That whole the customer is always right idea, well, maybe not literally true always, reflects the attitude.
So staff are usually quick to greet you, offer help.
Yes. Very proactive. Hi, welcome. Can I help you find anything? Have a nice day. It's standard.
And if something isn't right, like your order's wrong,
It's expected that you'll politely point it out. Excuse me, I think I ordered the salad.
even if it feels like complaining.
Right. Our source felt shy about that initially. But as long as you're polite, it's seen as normal, part of getting the service you paid for.
And managing daily life. Efficiency means technology, right? Apps for everything.
Oh, completely. Groceries delivered via Instacart.
Dinner from DoorDash or Uber Eats.
Paying your friend back instantly with Venmo or Cash App.
navigating with Google Maps or Waze, it sounds like apps became essential.
Yeah, the source found it weird at first, using apps for, like, everything, but then couldn't imagine life without them.
It definitely streamlines things.
It does. It fundamentally changes how you interact with services and even each other sometimes.
And speaking of interacting with services, shopping habits. Americans love a bargain.
Oh, yes. Sales, clearance racks, Bco buy one, get one, free coupons. It's a whole culture.
And returning things.
Totally normal and pretty much guilt-free. If it doesn't fit or you just change your mind, that surprised our observer too. Very consumer-focused.
And just quickly on practicalities, housing, it's often renting apartments in big cities.
Yeah, cost is a big factor. But outside the cities, owning a house, maybe with a little garden, is more the norm, the ideal for many.
And you need to know terms like lease and security deposit pretty fast if you're renting.
Definitely. Key vocabulary for setting up house.
Okay, so that's the sort of daily rhythm. Let's talk about connections. Friendships and community, this seemed quite different too.
Yeah, the dynamics are interesting.
Our source compared it to their home country, where you might have just a few very close friends you talk to constantly.
Daily contact, maybe?
Whereas in the US, it can seem more casual initially, like you have work friends you see at work, but maybe not outside.
Right. Or friends you see, say, once or twice a month. And that's considered normal and maintains the friendship.
And those phrases like, let's catch up sometime, or we should hang out soon.
Ah, yes. Friendly intentions, definitely.
Yeah.
But not always a concrete plan right that second. It's an opening.
So how do deeper friendships form then, if it's not always about constant talk?
Often it's through shared activities. Doing things together seems key.
Like joining a sports team
Or,
or volunteering.
exactly, book clubs, classes, church groups, hiking clubs.
Yeah.
The focus is on the shared experience, the doing, rather than just sitting and talking, though that happens too, of course.
That makes sense. And dating, another area with its own rules.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty common to go on casual dates first. You know, getting to know someone without instantly deciding it's a serious relationship.
And maybe even dating more than one person casually at the start.
That can happen, yeah, as long as it's understood by everyone involved that it's not exclusive yet. The key seems to be communication.
Being direct.
Very direct, saying, I had a great time, let's do this again, if you did. Or, equally important, being able to say gently, you know, I don't think we're quite the right match.
And that directness isn't seen as rude.
No, it's actually seen as respectful. Better than ambiguity or ghosting, usually. It's about clarity.
Okay. And outside of dating and friendships, how do Americans fill their time? Lots of hobbies.
Seems like it. Our observer mentioned loads of things: hiking, biking, visiting farmers markets.
Taking classes like cooking or art.
Yeah, and volunteering, community events. What really struck them was how many adults join clubs or groups.
Like book clubs, running clubs.
Right. It's a really common way to pursue an interest and make new friends outside of work or family. Very active.
And that volunteering piece seems important too.
Very. There's a strong culture of community involvement, serving meals at a shelter, park cleanups, charity fundraisers.
Yeah.
It's part of being a good neighbor, a good citizen, and again, a way to connect.
Shifting focus a bit to inside the home, American home life. Backyards seem important.
Yeah, especially outside big cities. The classic image is the backyard BBQ in the summer. Small gardens are common too.
And pets, they sound like a really big deal.
Huge. Often treated just like members of the family.
The source mentioned dogs getting Christmas presents, birthday parties.
Even Halloween costumes. It initially seemed surprising, maybe a bit excessive, to the observer the time and money spent.
But they came around.
Yeah, eventually just found it kind of sweet. It reflects how much pets provide companionship and fill emotional roles in many households.
And holidays, Americans seem to embrace them fully.
Oh, they go all out, as the source put it.
Halloween decorations everywhere.
There are Thanksgiving dinners with the whole family, focusing on gratitude.
4th of July fireworks, BBQs, everyone wearing red, white, and blue.
Even things like the Super Bowl feel almost like a national holiday, with parties and special snacks. It's about collective celebration.
But it's not just the huge holidays, is it? Small celebrations matter too.
Absolutely. Baby showers, housewarming parties, graduation parties.
They don't have to be massive events.
No, sometimes it's just pizza and cake and friends laughing together. But the milestones are marked, celebrated with enthusiasm.
Okay, let's dive into language now, and maybe the mindset behind it. Daily English, it's full of idioms and slang.
Definitely. Our source had to learn things like break the ice, meaning to make people feel comfortable.
Or piece of cake for something easy.
Right. And common slang like cool, awesome, y'all, in certain regions.
The source mentioned being confused by it's raining cats and dogs, looking for actual animals.
Yeah, a classic one. But they found these expressions ultimately made the language feel more alive, more colorful.
And specific, useful phrases they picked up.
Oh, yeah. Things like no worries.
Yeah.
Which means it's okay or you're welcome.
I'm good. Thanks for politely declining something.
Grab a bite for getting food. Rain check for postponing plans. And the all-purpose sounds good for agreement.
There must have been some funny moments, too.
For sure. The source mentioned confusion over fanny pack, because fanny means something quite different in British English, for example. Or learning restroom means bathroom. Little linguistic quirks that reveal cultural differences.
So overall, the communication style, it's generally direct.
Direct, yes, but also quite positive and casual, usually.
How does that show up in feedback, for instance?
Well, instead of just saying, that's wrong, someone might phrase it as, here's another way to think about it, or maybe try this approach next time.
Softer, more constructive.
Exactly. It aims to be helpful, not hurtful. Even emails often start with a casual hi or hey.
And this directness carries into work culture.
It seems so. Our source noted how often people ask, what do you do when meeting someone new?
Work is part of identity.
It often seems that way, yeah. And punctuality at work is key. Meetings start on time.
And there are common office phrases to learn.
Oh, definitely. Let's circle back later, meaning let's discuss it again soon. I'll shoot you an email. Or I'm slammed right now, meaning I'm incredibly busy.
But despite work being important, there's also this idea of work-life balance.
Yes, very much so. People value their personal time. They might take shorter, more frequent vacations, like long weekends.
And evenings and weekends are generally protected.
Yeah, for family, hobbies, relaxation, it's about finding that balance between professional commitment and personal well-being.
And speaking of well-being, the focus on mental health and self-care seemed noticeable.
Increasingly so, yes. It's become more normal to say things like, I need some me time.
And people talk more openly about stress or therapy.
It's less stigmatized than it once was, or than it might be in other cultures. You also hear lots of positive affirmations.
Like, you got this.
Or, take it easy, just small phrases that foster a supportive atmosphere around well-being.
So when you connect all of these dots, the language, work, personal time.
Yeah, you really see how these seemingly small cultural details build up into a larger collective mindset. One that often values positivity, directness, efficiency, but also individual space and increasingly well-being.
Of course, adjusting to all this involves, well, culture shock. Our source shared some funny moments.
Always the best stories.
It's like the classic, how are you misunderstanding. They started giving a detailed answer.
And the person had already walked past.
Exactly. Learning, it's often just a greeting, not a real question about your life story.
Happens to everyone, I think.
Or the panic of a first drive-through order. Forgetting what you wanted halfway through.
Been there. But it sounds like the worker was patient.
Yeah, they were. And a big one, tipping. Forgetting to leave a tip in a restaurant.
Oof. That's a major one in the U.S., where 15–20% is pretty standard in sit-down places. Easy mistake if you're not used to it.
The source said the guilt was intense afterwards. A quick lesson learned.
I bet.
But despite these awkward moments, the overwhelming feeling was positive. Feeling welcomed.
That's what came through strongly, yes.
Examples like being invited to Thanksgiving dinner by acquaintances.
People patiently explaining slang or idioms.
Showing genuine interest in their home country. It sounds like kindness generally won out over the confusion.
That's a lovely takeaway. And it leads to some practical advice for others, right?
Definitely. Like, don't be afraid to ask what words mean. Just ask.
Practice small talk. It really is a useful skill there.
Try to learn some local slang or expressions. It helps you connect.
And just accept that culture shock is normal. It feels weird at first, but it does get easier. Be patient with yourself.
So looking back, what did our source end up loving most about American culture?
It seemed to be the general openness to new people, that welcoming spirit.
And the positivity, the
Yeah.
encouragement.
Yeah, that you got this attitude. And also the way Americans celebrate things, big holidays, small moments, just enjoying life.
So bringing this all together, what does this journey mean for you, the listener, as you encounter new perspectives, maybe challenge your own ideas of normal?
Well, what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how digging into these everyday habits of another culture, from a simple greeting like, how are you, to how friendships work, how people talk, it doesn't just teach us about them.
Right.
It actually deepens our own empathy. It makes us question our own assumptions about what feels natural or right. It really makes you wonder, what hidden cultural rules are we following every day without even realizing it?